All right, what's going on? And welcome to what we hope is your favorite sports talk radio program, Idaho Sports Talk. We are Prater in the Ballgame. Always love that you listen to KTIK Sports Radio, The Ticket, or watch KTIK Sports Radio, The Ticket. We're AM, FM radio, KTIK.com. Listen to us on your phone. Just download our app. Really easy to do. We're everywhere on social media, and you can be a part of the show today. 208-424-9300. We are on our YouTube channel as well, broadcasting this on the internet for anybody who wants to look into the rowpaint.com studio today. For the entire first hour, we're going to do this. So say what's up to everybody out there watching the program as well, and our radio audience. We love you more than ever. Johnny Ballgame here, my partner. Prater, this is going to be, it'll be a great show today, but it's going to be a different tone of show today. We're going to share a lot of memories on the show today and spend a lot of time in reflection and celebrate one heck of a life and certainly one heck of a career on Idaho Sports Talk today, Prater. We're going to spend the entire first hour remembering Doug Martin, the former Bronco running back who passed away over the weekend. Prater, what's going on, man? Welcome, and let's have some fun this week.
Yeah, what a horrible, sombering Sunday weekend. Coming off that UNLV game and Boise State and its fan base on such a high, and not knowing that this had happened before even kickoff, and certainly the news didn't come out until a little bit later when we all heard about this on Sunday. So we could dedicate the entire week. We could dedicate the entire show. We could dedicate a lot of stuff to Doug Martin today. He was one of those kinds of players. There's only two first-round draft picks, running backs in the history of Boise State football. One of them is named Ashton Genty, and the other one, his name is Doug Martin. And wait until we kind of go over these next hour of the memories and what coaches have to say. Ballgame's got some very specific memories. I've got some specific memories. Greg's got memories of him playing in the National Football League where he was a star. This is going to be a tough hour. This is going to be an inspiring hour. The worst part here is just we don't know. And we're going to go over here this first hour or this first few minutes. We're going to try to figure out what happened yesterday. Then we're going to talk about his Boise State memories. Then we're going to talk about his NFL memories. And then Bob's going to talk about his memories. Ballgame, let's get after it today, my friend.
Prater in the Ballgame, KTIK, The Ticket, Rock Jocks, Pop Culture, West Side Drive-In. You'll have an opportunity to get a $50 gift card as we bring program director Greg Frank into the program. And Greg, Friday night, hockey night in Boise for the Steelheads opener. And luckily, our listeners, they're going to have a big opportunity, huh?
That's right. Yeah. Later on in the show, we'll take the 15th caller when you announce it, Johnny. And we'll be giving away one pair per day. We have 4 pairs to give out this week for Idaho Steelheads season opener tickets. And that'll be today's pair coming up later on in the show. And then we'll have some fun with it with some texting games throughout the week as well. So Steelheads season opener less than a week away, Friday night, Idaho Central Arena.
Steelies had a nice win yesterday. Caught it on KTIK as the Steelies are back on the radio. Love that. We'll have Monday Night Football tonight. You have another doubleheader. So luckily here on KTIK, you got Tampa Bay at Detroit. Then after the first game ends, we'll get you to Houston at Seattle. Big night there for my hometown or those fans up there. Pretty crazy situation going on with the Mariners and the Seahawks. Going to be some fun there, Prater. And man, Dylan Riley, the game he had, you talked about Wednesday against UNLV a little bit. Typically, we'd love to open up this show and say, what's going on with this football team right now? But a key member of Bronco Nation and a member of this family, and we know being as close to this program as we are, how close the brotherhood, if you will, is. I mean, that's not bull crap. And it was a sad day down there at the Blameyer Football Center. I believe I got pictures of Doug Martin right in there, and it was a major focal point on the best Boise State teams that this program has ever produced. You talked about the running back, the first rounder with Ashton Genty. I mean, Kellen wasn't even drafted. Doug went in the first round. I mean, that kind of puts some things into perspective as well. But let's talk about what happened And what we know, I think that happens in a situation like this when you're 36 years young and you pass away. Doug Martin had so much more of life to live, and he's not going to get that opportunity. Rest in peace, Doug Martin. Mike Prater, what can you tell us? What happened?
Yeah, something tragically went wrong at about 4:00 in the morning, Saturday morning, California time. Doug Martin, who by all accounts spent time in Boise, and then obviously he's from the East Bay, the Oakland area as well. And about 4:15 local time, the police officers showed up, and this information, and the San Jose Mercury News has done a great job since yesterday afternoon putting out the kind of details that are out there. And right now, there's not a lot of details, but here's what we do know: that the police showed up after reports of a home break-in about 4:15 in the morning, Saturday morning, California time, up there in the Oakland Hills. If you know where the zoo is, it's not an affluent neighborhood, but it's a nice neighborhood, and it's just kind of a normal suburban neighborhood up there in the Oakland Hills. And all of a sudden, the police show up, and there is a brief scuffle. There is a break-in inside of a home. And in time, right now they're saying that Doug Martin did pass away in police custody on Saturday morning. He was taken to a hospital where he officially was pronounced dead. No other real details there. So we know it was a home break-in. We know that Doug was involved. We don't know to the extent of what he was involved. I don't know if he was in there protecting. I don't know if he was in here doing. We don't know anything about the extent. We know that he was considered a person of interest while they were investigating a home break-in, and he was there. There was a brief scuffle that did involve Doug Martin, and then all of a sudden this emergency situation happened. He was at the hospital and he passed away. So the police officers have been put on leave just as the investigation continues. The coroner's office is yet to completely release the names of the person who died, but the police and reports have said it was Doug Martin, and no cause of death yet. So I would imagine we're going to get that kind of information here soon. But Doug Martin, it was an ugly situation. Doug Martin's always been a very private man. Doesn't do a lot of interviews. As a matter of fact, I think the last couple of times I've tried to reach out to him, he said no, thank you. The last time I think he reached out to you, you reached out to him, Ballgame. He said he doesn't do interviews anymore.
Yeah.
You were a part, and we're going to talk about this at 3:15 again, guys. We're dedicating this entire first hour to the death and the life and times of Doug Martin, 36 years old. At 3:15, we're going to talk about his Boise State history, and you're going to hear Spencer Danielson and teammate Nate Potter talk about him. Ballgame referenced this in the open. In terms of the 50 and 3 era, we always talk about Kellen Moore. Nate Potter said that was all Doug Martin. And obviously Doug Martin had lots of help on those teams that were very, very talented. But he said today that Doug Martin was the core and the reason why Boise State went 50 and 3. He was that good, that important. And we're going to talk about that. Then at 3:30, we'll talk about his NFL career. And at 3:45, Bob's going to talk about his favorite memories with some plays and some highlights. But it's the fact that he was so private, the fact that about 3 years ago, I think he did a blue chaos flag. That was one of the last times he's been seen in public.
Yeah, he did, man. He did blue chaos.
I can't remember.
Firing him up. He had that smile and everything.
Yeah.
Like, Doug's back. Like, people love Doug Martin, man. Yes.
That was 3 years ago. And I don't think we've seen him since.
Yeah,
publicly.
I thought I was aware that he was living in Meridian. He had bought a house, and I think he was back and forth between California and Meridian. But no, I mean, he would pop at a practice every blue moon. He'd be standing at a practice, and like everybody would always be like, "Dude, come to Moore. You're living here. Get out here. Come see. Be involved." But he just didn't want to be one of those guys, I guess, those ex-players who still kind of live in the facility and do that. But everybody wanted him to. They were like, Doug, come as much as you want to practice. And he was very, very private. And it's unfortunate. I can't wait to find out exactly what happened and if whatever's going to come with this. That's why, I mean, we wanted to reach out to, I thought about Kellen Moore yesterday, and let's text him and say, can you give me a statement? Chris Peterson, I know Spencer Danielson said he talked with Chris Peterson about Doug Martin yesterday in his weekly Zoom with Coach Pete. I mean, it was just, man, it's crazy to think, Prater, that Doug Martin's no longer with us in this family here. And he was very, very reclusive. But man, it's crazy too, because that interview I remember doing with Doug, It was on BJ Rain's. I was on BNN, and I remember thinking, gosh, this guy's shy? Like, wait, what? The stories he was telling about kicking my Vandal's ass and everything that came with it, like, that was it was one of those deals. And I remember thinking after that interview, like, maybe Doug's going to be out and about a little bit more. And you mentioned like what Coach Potter was saying as well. Like, look at Doug Martin's rookie year. Like, if there was ever any question about, well, should he have been a first round pick, or, oh, is he that good? He kicked ass in the NFL right from the get-go. Ashton Genty would love to wake up tomorrow with Doug Martin's rookie stats. 100%. Genty won't come close this year to what Doug was able to do. And just that whole era, I think about, and I'm not even a Boise State fan, I didn't even go to school there. But that era, the 50-3 era, they were such a big deal throughout college football. You had to do a Boise State segment every single week on College Game Day. You had to. Everybody wanted to talk about it. And Doug Martin, the nicknames, he didn't love him or like him. He didn't like him. He loved some. And I'm going to miss that smile, man. This is a rough one. And
we'll
I want to hear from some of Bronco Nation too, Prater.
Yeah, we'll do that in the 5 o'clock hour. In the 3:15 here, we'll dive certainly into some more of the Boise State memories and focus on the Boise State thing. And first, we wanted to set the table. And I'm just frankly, I just don't understand what happened over the last 48 hours there in terms of Doug, and all of our minds going a million different directions. How does a guy like this get himself involved in a police situation? How does a guy like this get himself involved in a home break-in situation?
Yeah.
How does a guy like this, quote unquote, struggle in a physical confrontation with Oakland area police,
with cops?
Yeah, and what's going on there? There is very little in the background that puts Doug Martin in those kinds of situations. Obviously, he got suspended for 4 games in the NFL for PEDs. I think it was Adderall at the time, and there's no way in hell I would ever connect the 2 dots there. That's too broad of a situation that puts Doug Martin into what happened over the weekend. It's frankly the fact that a 36-year-old young, healthy dude with a big old fat bright smile passed away, but passing away under these circumstances is shocking. The first words out of Nate Potter's mouth this morning were, I'm still trying to process what happened.
Yeah.
You and I talked about strategy in terms of reaching out to Kellen, reaching out to Chris Peterson. We have made a decision here at KTIK not to reach out to any one of those individuals or a lot of his teammates. We're going to talk to Pete Cavender here for his regular Monday segment at 4 o'clock, the college football analyst and former Boise State offensive lineman. He was teammates with Doug for 1 year as they made that transition. But we're not reaching out to anybody because of the circumstances that happened over the weekend. Right now, it's too scary. There's too much unknown.
Yeah.
We'll get to the point where we completely and totally praise the career of Doug Martin and what he did at Boise State and what he did in the NFL. But we're just still trying to wrap our head around the 2 big headlines, that Doug Martin has passed away and that Doug Martin has passed away in these just bizarre series of elements that happened in Oakland in the middle of the night. If you look at some of the pictures of the newspaper, there was like 30 police cars at the scene of this incident. So it was a big situation.
Wow.
There with the news media, diving in and trying to figure out what's going on here. And we'll keep an eye on this, but
15 a.m. Saturday morning. So basically Friday night extended.
Correct.
I'm curious, when you guys saw the news, I mean, we started texting a little bit yesterday. It was kind of one of those things where I first saw it and it wasn't getting reported by a lot of people. And so I was kind of in like wait and see mode for a good 30 to 60 minutes. And then after the 30 to 60 minute period had gone by and I started seeing it get reported by more credible outlets, it just kind of hit you like, oh, damn, like that really happened. It was kind of a bit of a shock, I think, for probably everybody yesterday.
Yeah. And Greg, you're from the Northeast. You've never been to Boise, Idaho before this whole deal, but you knew who Doug Martin was.
Sure.
You knew what school he went to.
Absolutely.
You remember him in college. I mean, he was a beast.
No doubt about it. I mean, he is one of the first names that I think if you're just a sports nerd like I am, and you know about the long lineage of Boise State running backs,
yep,
he's probably the first name that you would bring up. I mean, right there with Jay Ajayi. So, it was, and we'll play the cut, obviously. I think it also hits when Spencer Danielson says, well, that guy's my age, I mean, just
same age.
Pretty sad.
Yep. Nate Potter will talk coming up as well, as Prater said. And yeah, I want to know more. I mean, Doug Martin died early Saturday morning, and the police report was that the officers received a call that there was a break-in at a residence in Oakland, and then it said simultaneously they were told that there is someone who is unresponsive or something, and then they had to get into whatever it was, a scuffle, however they're determining it, and Doug Martin said simultaneously officers were notified of an individual who was also experiencing a medical emergency and was believed to be the same individual related to the break-in. So just, I mean, you can draw a million conclusions there. What are your favorite, or what are your lasting Doug Martin memories on the Cloverdale Plumbing text line? Love to read some of those today. 208-424-9300. Let's talk about Doug on the blue. Anybody remember what position he first played at Boise State? For some Doug Martin trivia there, we're remembering Doug Martin on KTIK, The Ticket.
Now, you too can dress like Prater in the Ballgame. Check out the KTIK store for clothing and other stuff branded with the KTIK logo. You might even find a fanny pack. We heard they're making a comeback. Look for it at KTIK.com.
Murray, it's 2 a.m.
I know,
Why are you sitting outside in your pajamas staring at our new sprinkler system?
because I'm worried about it, Carol.
Well, that's you, Worry Murray.
I mean, what if the sprinklers don't come on?
They will, Murray. Grover Electric and Plumbing showed you exactly how to install them.
Yeah, the people at Grover are experts.
Remember how they walked you through every step of it?
Grover helped me with the planning, told me how to dig the trenches, run the pipes, install the sprinkler heads, wire it to the controller.
Exactly, Murray. When you shop at Grover.
My worries are over.
So again, I ask, why
Yeah,
at 2 a.m.
right?
are you sitting in the middle of our lawn,
Uh-huh,
in the dark,
correct.
in your pajamas,
Sure.
worrying about it?
I just want to be sure that, hey, it works.
Just the way Grover said it would, and now you're getting soaked.
And that worries me.
Why?
I don't think these pajamas are waterproof.
Oh, for crying out loud.
You shop over, it's over.
It's cool, but it's
Website.
I eat up that special way. You take me back again to those good old rockin' days of way back when. Order all my favorite things, go back in my mind, 'cause you serve up great memories and the taste of good times. He's a genuine chef, the best you can get. You're gonna get me some
Website.
get me in the mood, 'cause I love his food. You're gonna get me some
Website.
it's cool, but it's
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. A stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/play.
Do you ever wonder what keeps the technology around us running? It's mechatronics, where automation, robotics, and electronics meet. It's an in-demand career with opportunities that never stop growing. College of Western Idaho's mechatronics program will equip you with the skills top employers are looking for. Don't just watch the future unfold. Be the one making it happen. Take the first step and learn more about mechatronics. Visit whatismechatronics.com. CWI. Let's get started.
It's that time of year, Boise, and you need some extra money. That's where we come in. Welcome to Dollar Loan Center. Dollar Loan Center offers signature loans up to $5,000 in minutes, and you don't need great credit or collateral. No checking account required, no application fees, and no prepayment penalty. It's easy to qualify, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. Our rates are way less than the competition, and we guarantee to beat them. Get cash at one of our convenient locations or enjoy instant funding when you apply online at don'tbebroke.com. The first week's interest is even on us to all new customers for giving DLC a shot. Also in Caldwell, Napa, and Meridian. Give us a call or check us out and apply online at don'tbebroke.com.
License by the Idaho Department of Finance. Subject to approval. Limitations may apply. See website for details. On paper, Prater and the Ballgame are clearly the favorite. Sports radio isn't played on paper, though, is it?
Prater in the Ballgame, KTIK, the ticket. How about a chance to win $1,000 right here, right now? Text the word cent. I need 1 cent to 95819. Thank you, Weather Tight Roofing. Text that word to that number this entire hour number one, and you might realize, hey, it's Monday. Where are your winners and losers? Everybody's a winner this hour because we're celebrating the life of Bronco great NFL Pro Bowler, NFL All-Pro running back Doug Martin, who passed away early Saturday morning. I know people are calling. You guys want to get on. We're going to ask Prater that we get all the calls at 5 o'clock tonight when we open up our Taco Bell hotline. We want all your Doug Martin memories, personal or just something you saw on TV, maybe a jersey he signed for you. Doug Martin, Mike Prater, and it was pretty special today getting a chance to hear like Nate Potter and Spencer Danielson talk about this, but Nate Potter especially because he was the left tackle of that team. He was Doug Martin's left tackle. He knew him so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spencer's had a chance to meet him a couple of times as an assistant coach or as a head coach. I'm not exactly sure the timing, but he talked today about having a chance to meet him a couple of times. But yeah, between those two coaches and talking about that, it was a very surreal press conference today. There wasn't a lot of, we dove into it, and we're going to play some UNLV stuff and some Dylan Riley stuff throughout the rest of this show. But a majority of this stuff and the mood over the press conference today dealing with Doug Martin was definitely a different kind of press conference today.
Yeah, here's Spencer Danielson, his Monday press conference today. You heard us mention earlier that Spencer Danielson was mentioning Chris Peterson because he has that weekly chat with Coach Pete. But here was Spencer Danielson earlier today kind of talking about the whole situation there with Doug Martin.
Heartbroken for Doug Martin's family. Obviously, everyone's kind of seen the news on the passing of Doug Martin, and we actually talked with Coach Peterson for a while yesterday on our weekly Sunday get together, and just hearing more about Doug when he was here, just the type of person he was, the type of teammate he was. I didn't know that he even played a little defense as a freshman because of just how talented a football player he was from Stockton, California, St. Mary's High School, and obviously went on to be an elite college football player, first-round draft pick. And I've met him a couple times and was an unbelievable young man. And, I mean, he's 36 years old. I'm 36. And life comes at you, and it's heartbroken for him and his family. Obviously, our team is mourning that loss because he's a part of this brotherhood, and we're hurting for him and his family. We're going to honor him this game, and we're working through how to do that the right way because he absolutely deserves that. His family deserves that, and he's a part of this family forever. And like I said, our hearts are broken for his family.
What would you guys, Bronco Nation, you guys have been following this program a long time. Maybe you've seen what they've done and what the precedent would be. What would you like to see, and how would you like to see Doug Martin be honored Friday night in Reno from Boise State and potentially for the rest of the season? Mike Prater, there's one somber Spencer Danielson, man.
Yeah, and one thing that he mentioned, and it's probably where they'll go, he said he met with Dale Holstey, the equipment manager, this morning, and they're looking at a little black decal to put on the helmet. So I don't know if that's exactly what they came up with, but I think that's where the conversation started. So the plan is to honor him as fast as this Friday night against Nevada. Pretty somber. You're right. It was a very somber press conference, a little bit different than it kind of reminded me, not that it was the same thing, completely different, but remember when Boise State beat New Mexico by 28 and then by Monday they had fired the press conference, fired the head coach.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really weird.
Yep.
Completely different circumstances today, but Boise State coming off a dominant victory. You wake up on Sunday morning, you feel really, really happy about yourself when you show up at a press conference on Monday, and it's just the world has been shocked and rocked, and it's just so different.
Guys, that's another thing that jumped out to me is just that swing of emotion that I think Boise State fan is going through this weekend, because obviously we were getting everybody geared up. It seemed like, I thought it was a great crowd at Albertson Stadium on Saturday, and it was the biggest Mountain West game of the regular season. And to, in 24 hours time, essentially have the emotions take such a sharp turn, it kind of, I think, has everybody starting the week on kind of a weird foot.
Doug Martin, rest in peace. His former teammate, also, and was an All-American here. Nate Potter, the offensive coordinator, as we said, longtime teammate with Doug Martin, like the whole time here together. And Nate Potter here talking about what Doug Martin meant to the 50-3 run.
He was everything to that run. I know a lot of guys get a lot of credit for those teams, but Doug was heart and soul of our offense. Just the way he ran the football, he could catch the football, he protected, he did it all for us, and he brought an energy, a physicality, a spark every time we stepped on the field. So there's no, there was no secret or no shock that he became the player he became. You could see it every day. You saw it when he came in these doors as a freshman. But yeah, even everything to those teams.
What a workhorse. What a piece of muscle he was. And, that's how he got that nickname that he didn't like, the muscle hamster, Doug or not. I mean, Doug Martin was just a beast on the blue. Nate Potter, obviously, it goes beyond just the X's and O's and all the victories. Here's Nate Potter on how he's going to remember Doug Martin.
The first thing I think about is his smile. He had that big old smile, and he was smiling a lot. Good spirits. His energy was contagious, and he was by far the best dancer, I think, of the generation of Broncos. And he proved it over and over again. But that's just who he was. I mean, if you'd be running 20 decks and he'd be smiling, that huge smile on his face. He'd be in the middle of a 4-minute drive and he'd have that smile. So that's just what he brought every day, was that type of energy, and it kind of fed off it, everybody else.
One of those players, the energy, the smile. You'll always hear them talk about that Doug Martin smile. And I know Bronco Nation has so many memories of Doug, and people keep texting those in. Call them. We're remembering the life of Doug Martin for a good portion of this show today.
Ballgame, he ran for 4,146 yards from scrimmage. That's rushing and receiving 47 touchdowns at Boise State, and highlights all over the place, even when he was a little freshman, as we talked about, playing a little defense. His first ever recorded stat at Boise State was a tackle, and then they kind of figured it out, and the rest is history. But, one of the great moments, as we spend the rest of today talking about some of the great Doug Martin moments, and one thing that really made him a rock star amongst the fan base was his memories of playing the Idaho Vandals. And going up there, and it's been well chronicled, and you were a part of this interview. As we talked about earlier in the show, one of the last interviews Doug ever did, he talked ad nauseum about going up there to the Kibbe Dome, taking was it Choate that lit the helmet on fire
in the locker room
before the game. But and then outside as a captain, I think maybe is what the situation was. He comes out with the hammer.
He ran out with the hammer
and just crushes the logo with the Boise State hammer, and just getting his teammates fired up, pissing off the crowd. I had forgotten about some of the plays and some of the things that he did, but you discovered something that he did later on in that exact same game that kind of connects the dots: the pregame emotion, and then going out and playing football at a very high level.
Yeah, it's crazy, guys. But that day, November 12th, 2010, the best Boise State team ever. We all talk about that. They were in the Kibbe Dome, and they beat the Vandals 52-14, and Doug Martin was just total Doug Martin. You couldn't stop him. But there was a play in this, to me, after getting to interview Doug, this was his greatest memory of being a Bronco. It was that day in the Kibbe Dome when he got to carry the hammer and set the stinking tone. And then in the game, I know everybody remembers this, the hit on Shiloh Kao. Shiloh Kao was the best player on the Vandal defense. He went to the NFL. You all know that. I was at that game, and Shiloh was our best player. And it was such a deflating, almost dehumanizing moment for us Vandals when Doug Martin met Shiloh Kao on the goal line and just got every single bit of him. I think it was Joe Tessitore on the call, and I think we tracked the clip down. But for people who want to put, like, you know, Doug's career in one play, I think you can put it into this.
What they've been able to do in the red zone, so effective this year. Martin again. Balls his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Boise. Shiloh Kao got a mouthful of Doug Martin.
Oh, my goodness. That's shades of Bo Jackson running over people back in the day.
Watch this.
Oh, are you kidding me? Watch him lower the shoulder here. Oh, my goodness.
Go back and watch it, Boise State fan. I mean, it is the ultimate muscle flex for Boise State fan to Idaho fan, because it was like our best player. Like, it was against Shiloh Kao, and that really meant something to those Vandal teams. And I had never seen anybody punk Shiloh Kao like that. Never. And Doug Martin just ran right over my buddy there. And that was
117 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay. Yeah. Typical muscle hamster game. We're remembering Doug Martin. What do you guys remember? Anybody at that game? Text 208-424-9300. Doug Martin in the NFL. What's that one or two things you remember about Doug's NFL career? A couple of Pro Bowls, an All-Pro, very, very distinguished NFL career. We're remembering Doug Martin here on KTIK The Ticket.
This is Idaho Sports Talk with Prater and the Ballgame on 95.3 FM, 1350 AM, and always streaming on the KTIK app.
This is Pete Cavender for the Spa and Sauna team at Snake River Pool and Spa. As a former Boise State Bronco offensive lineman, I sure wish I discovered Snake River Pool and Spa years ago. They offer so much every day with world-class wellness, including a wide range of infrared and traditional saunas and cold plunges. Now that's refreshing. If Boise State trusts Snake River Pool and Spa for their aquatic needs, shouldn't you? Snake River Pool and Spa. They make it easy to take it easy in Boise, Nampa, Meridian, Twin Falls, and now open in Haley.
I'm retired, newly retired, so this was my first summer not working again. But I had problems with my shoulder. I mean, it was just like 1,000 needles going into my shoulder.
Mike didn't want surgery. 6 months in a sling was not how he planned to spend retirement. That's when he heard about QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It's a free appointment. And after the first treatment, the next day, I went out and played golf. The pain just wasn't there.
No drugs, no surgery. Just your body's own natural healing power. Orthobiologic concentrated and placed exactly where you need them to go to work.
I couldn't have asked for a better experience. I don't want to take on Mike Tyson, but he'd know I was there.
Now Mike's heading back to QC Kinetics to get his knees treated.
It changed my first summer being retired. It's one I can remember instead of regret.
Get back to doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today to schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 208-425-2747. That's 208-425-2747. 208-425-2747.
The R&R Barbecue Pitmasters have spent years crafting the perfect technique to barbecue. With 9 grand championships under their belts, it's easy to beef up your life with chopped and sliced brisket, ribs, pulled pork, burgers, nachos, and more. What else could you ask for? If you're planning a family get-together for the holidays, a wedding for 250 guests, or an office party for 500, R&R Barbecue can handle it. If you need individually packed boxes or full-blown catering buffets, if you want pickup, delivery, or full service, R&R can accommodate any style of party. And yes, we even have some vegetarian options for the non-meat eaters in your life. R&R Barbecue at the Village at Meridian and downtown Boise in the main marketplace, and at rndrbbq.com. Slowly smoked, quickly devoured. It's not fancy, but it's our passion. It's R&R Barbecue.
Log on to ktik.com and click the Sweet Deals banner. Get your R&R Barbecue certificates for half off. $50 worth of award-winning barbecue, and it only costs you $25. This sweet deal of the week starts Friday at 9 a.m. at ktik.com.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The future depends on teachers who are reinventing the classroom and starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Want to shape the future of automation? Mechatronics drives the systems that keep industries moving. At College of Western Idaho's Mechatronics program, you'll learn to take ideas and turn them into reality, maintain automated systems, and troubleshoot complex equipment. Gain the skills top employers are looking for. Mechatronics is a career path for problem solvers like you. Learn more. Visit whatismechatronics.com. College of Western Idaho. Let's get started.
Sponsored by Starbucks. The pumpkin spice latte is back at Starbucks. Handcrafted with their signature espresso and real pumpkin sauce. Then topped with whipped cream, cinnamon, and nutmeg. PSL. Get it while it's hot or iced. Only at Starbucks.
The fans are rocking in Idaho Sports Talk. It's another sellout in the RowPaint.com studio. Just ask Greg Frank. He'll tell you all about it.
Here's Martin. Straight ahead. Doug Martin. And Doug Martin is going to score in his hometown. Run up the middle and then out racing the secondary.
And watch the burst. First of all, the vision. Then he hides back there. Remember, he's only 5'9". And then once he gets out there, pure speed, outrunning Tyvon Branch, who can get it himself. That's outstanding running. We saw him bust out versus Minnesota last week. His head coach challenged him. Can you do it consistently?
Second down and 9 from the 33. They go to Martin. Martin off the left side, breaks a tackle, and here's Martin again. Inside the 20, and Martin will get in for the touchdown.
That was Doug Martin against the Raiders, who would be his future team. That was him as a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dick Stockton on the call, calling Doug Martin teeters, Mike Prater there, and was a heck of an NFL running back there. And, as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer there, they released this season their top 50 players in franchise history because Tampa Bay's celebrating 50 years. Doug Martin made that list.
Nice.
They said Doug Martin was one of the 50 greatest Tampa Bay Buccaneers of all time.
Spent at least 2 or 3 years with Dirk Cutter as his offensive coordinator, play caller, and 15, 16, 17, if I remember off the top of my head.
And Dirk was the OC in 2014 when Doug Martin played for Lovie Smith.
Gotcha.
So he had that whole deal. Greg Schiano drafted Doug Martin. Kind of a weird name right there. So, and John Gruden finished with Doug Martin in Oakland. Doug was able to finish his last career with the Raiders and play for Coach Gruden. And Doug grew up watching the Raiders, obviously, and got to be a part of that, celebrating the NFL career today right now of Doug Martin, Mike Prater.
Yeah, it's, Doug Martin, you obviously heard over the weekend, passed away in Oakland, California, in police custody. More details to come. We just got done talking about his Boise State career. Now we're going to dive into his NFL career here. Bob Beeler here in about 5-10 minutes, guys, with his favorite play calls in the history of Boise State football involving Doug Martin and some personal memories from Bob, the voice of Boise State athletics, which covered all 4 years of the Doug Martin regime. So in the NFL ballgame, the NFL, he had a beautiful NFL career, but he also had a very typical NFL career when it came to running backs.
Right.
He had moments of great success. That Oakland Raiders game, I think, was his 8th game of his entire NFL career, and that's kind of how he introduced himself. By the way, I did, and you mentioned that earlier, you would wish that Ashton Jeanty could have the career that Doug had, but I did do the research, and you're 100% right on in terms of the trend. Ashton Genty threw 3 games, and we'll talk about him at one point this week and the debacle that went on with that football team over the weekend. But he has, through 7 games, Genty 531 yards from scrimmage and 5 touchdowns.
Okay.
Doug through 7 games, 1 less touchdown. He only had 4, but he had 767 yards from scrimmage, about 250 yards more, 240 yards more than Ashton Genty has through 7 games. We'll see how this plays out. But all of a sudden, once he hit that Raiders game and popped for 200 plus in his hometown, 2 or 3 years of unbelievable running. But then he all of a sudden, he had that 4-game suspension for PEDs. Then he went 39 consecutive games over like 3 or 4 years without even getting a 100-yard game.
Sure.
Where he really struggled. His last 2 games of his NFL career were both 100-yard games where he kind of just gave a little FU to the National Football League and said, I can still have it. I can still go for 100. I can still do it.
Yeah.
But my body's done. My mind is done, and I'm done. And he was done playing football. That's how he ended up going out. So it was a beautiful career full of ups and downs, but I think there was a lot more ups than downs in his NFL career.
No question. There was that gap where he couldn't stay healthy, and people remember that. But, Doug Martin was the first skill position Bronco drafted in the first round. And that rookie year, like we talk about in 2012, the only reason he didn't win Rookie of the Year is because you had Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, and Russell Wilson, all 3 that year. RG3 won Rookie of the Year. But that rookie season Doug Martin put together with 1,926 scrimmage yards. That's rushing and receiving collective. 1926. Only 2 rookie running backs had better than that, and they were named Eric Dickerson and Edgerrin James, and they're both in Canton, Ohio. Only 2 running backs since have done that as rookies. Saquon Barkley, pretty good. Zeke Elliott won multiple rushing titles. Those are the 5 greatest rookie running back seasons in NFL history.
Wow.
Eric Dickerson, Edgerrin James, Saquon, Zeke, and Doug Martin. He is also one of 3 Boise State Broncos that can never say they were a first-team NFL All-Pro. And I'm not even talking about his rookie year. Doug was all-rookie team, but Doug was first-team All-Pro in 2015. Okay, that season, the NFL writer said he was one of the 2 best running backs in the whole league that year. A first-team All-Pro, went to a couple of Pro Bowls, too. It could have been like a Hall of Fame career, but again, this happens. Guys get hurt, and it just doesn't work out the way you want. But man, what he had moments, man.
Yeah.
He had a lot of stinking moments.
He was built for the NFL in terms of his power, his speed. He was kind of Ashton Genty before Ashton Genty, and I have no idea who's going to have the better NFL career at the end of the season. The NFL can be really squirrely and weird, but it's just that beautiful burst of speed. It's funny today as Nate Potter and Spencer Danielson were talking about him. Burst of speed, the physicality, and the smile. And I kept thinking, okay, how do we describe Ashton Genty? The burst of speed, the phicality, and the smile.
Wow.
And the fact that they were the only 2 running backs ever drafted in the first round out of Boise State. Such a link between the 2. I haven't seen Ashton Genty reach out. The NFL world, it was shocking to me. Not shocking. It was really, really cool yesterday to see in an otherwise horrible day, the love that he had gotten in the National Football League and the relevant people in the National Football League, even today, reaching out and saying something nice about Ashton Genty. And you forgot, oh yeah, that's why he's saying that, because they were teammates or a name that you had forgotten about. Oh my gosh, there were so many different people. So it's really, really cool to see all the love that he got in the NFL, the teammates that he affected and impacted. And there's a lot of people in the NFL right now who are feeling very sad and very concerned about what happened over the past weekend, and Doug Martin just kind of had that kind of it factor.
Guys, I just remember when he first came into the league, as Prater talked about, just 8 games into the league, into his season in the National Football League, I should say, as a rookie, he has that big game against the Raiders. I looked it up. In his first season in the National Football League, Doug Martin had 319 carries last year. 12 years later, okay, the only 2 running backs in the National Football League last season who had more than that were Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. Of course, times have changed a little bit, and obviously there's fewer bell cow running backs, and the league is more reliant on these passing down specialists. But the point is, even 12, 13 years ago, Doug Martin was a guy that was playing every down, and he was a workhorse, and he came right in and hit the league by storm. And like you guys were saying, his career in the National Football League kind of encapsulates a lot of the careers of these running backs that were taken early. They come right in and they look great. And it's just the ability to sustain things. Sometimes they wear down a little bit. Kind of cool, as Prater talked about, that he did have a few games there with the Raiders, double middle fingers to the rest of the league.
That was kind of cool.
To kind of say that he still has it. And, 723 yards for his final season in the NFL, I guess not too
It was solid on a really bad Raiders team coached by John Gruden there. And he caught 49 balls that rookie year you speak of. He had 368 touches. That's a lot. By the way, if you're scoring at home, the only other two first-team All-Pros to play at Boise State, one is Ryan Clady, the other is Dave Wilcox, and then Doug Martin. Those are the only three that have been given that honor as a first-team NFL All-Pro. A few guys have made Pro Bowls. Doug's obviously one of them as well. Bob Beeler, Bronco Focus. Bob Beeler called every one of Doug Martin's carries while he was a Boise State Bronco. All the touchdowns, all the big moments. Bob was on the call for that. We're going to remember Doug Martin the entire first hour here on KTIK, The Ticket, and leave you with a pretty spectacular edition of Doug Martin in the NFL. We'll come back with Bob Beeler.
5 minutes going by in the second quarter. Fake a pass, hand off to Martin. Doug Martin with another first. Here is Doug Martin being chased from behind by Nolan Carroll. And Martin still working his way in and is knocked out of bounds at the 1-yard line by Connor Barwin. Another huge run by Doug Martin. 58 yards to set up an early touchdown. 84 right here.
Bronco Focus is next, brought to you by Boss Retirement Solutions.
Ready for the best riding out your back door at Mountain Meadow Adventure? Warranty, no trailer needed. Just park and ride with membership programs. 4 locations across Idaho and endless trails for all skill levels. It's fun for families, friends, and corporate events. Mountain Meadow Adventure Rentals. Visit mountainmeadowrentals.com.
I eat up that special way. You take me back again to those good old rockin' days of way back when. Order all my favorite things, go back in my mind, 'cause you serve up great memories and the taste of good old times. He's a genuine chef, the best you can get. You're gonna get me some Westside Crab. Get me in the mood, 'cause I love this food. You're gonna get me some Westside Crab. It's good, but it is
Hey, Johnny Ballgame telling you I'll take Taco Bell over any burger any day. And certainly when it comes to the late night munchies. Think about it. At Taco Bell, I can get beef, chicken, steak, and endless toppings on tacos. And they aren't filling, so I can eat a couple. Burgers are just meat, and you probably get the same toppings every single time. Lame. Taco Bell. Lip Moss.
Banks require good credit. So how does that work at Dollar Loan Center?
Look, a lot of people have a crappy credit score, Craig. So what? That's our specialty, and we look at the whole picture, not just a number. We love to say yes quickly because we know it's important to our borrowers.
Well, what if you were denied in the past?
I love that question. If you were denied in the past and are still looking for a loan, before you go somewhere else and pay way too much, give us another shot. Everyone's situation changes. You might have a cosigner, new job, or raise, who knows, but we sure would like a chance to help you out.
DLC lends up to $5,000 in minutes, and you can get your cash in person at one of our 70 locations, on our website, don'tbebroke.com, or even over the phone with one of our helpful, real staff members. You're gonna love Dollar Loan Center.
Licensed by the Idaho Department of Finance, subject to approval, limitations. limitations may apply. See website for details.
I never want surgery unless it's absolutely, necessary, life-saving surgery.
But doctors insisted it was the only way Abby would get relief from her chronic back pain.
So I thought it's time to get something done, and I was really happy when I went into QC Kinetics and found out they could help me.
Fast forward to today after Abby's treatment at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. They've treated tens of thousands of patients using natural biologics, the patient's own healing properties, to give lasting relief from pain with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery.
And it has just been the most life-changing, amazing experience. I feel like a person that's never had back pain. And I have written QC Kinetics and the phone number down on my business card so many times I can't count.
QC Kinetics saved Abby from surgery. Well worth a second opinion. Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 208-425-2747. That's 208-425-2747. 208-425-2747.
This is Bronco Focus with the voice of Boise State Athletics, Bob Beeler. Brought to you by Boss Retirement Solutions, helping you make the most of every dollar you've saved for retirement. On Sports Radio 95.3, The Ticket.
All right, Bob Beeler. This is airing on the KTIK YouTube channel as well. It's Bronco Focus, and it's been a tough one. I mean, it's fun remembering and talking about all the wonderful moments that Doug Martin was able to provide for this fan base, but he passed away over the weekend, and we're still trying to gather information there, Bob. But today we are remembering Doug Martin. We bring you on as someone who called just about every one of his games, Bob.
I called every one of his games.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah, he was a redshirt the year before I got here. And I was excited to meet Doug because Doug's the first player from my hometown that I ever called in the game. Doug grew up in Stockton, California, went to what would have been the rival high school of mine. I went to Lincoln, and he went to St. Mary's.
Okay.
But, knew some people who knew him. The athletic director at St. Mary's was a friend of mine. So, was able to find out a little bit about Doug and his family. And obviously when you have somebody from your hometown, you kind of take a little extra interest in that person. But what a career at Boise State, two-time all-conference, rushed for 3,431 yards and 43 touchdowns. And the first year, which was 2008, that he got on the field as a redshirt freshman, he only rushed for 107 yards. It was a crowded backfield. Ian Johnson led the team in rushing that year, and he even played some defense. So they weren't quite sure what to do with Doug. He was such a great athlete. They knew they wanted to get him on the field. And, it was a team that was loaded with talent. I mean, every year that he was in the backfield, it was more like this backfield where there were others that were in the backfield with him, even if he was the lead back as a junior or senior, unlike a Jay Ajayi or Ashton Genty last year where, the three of us got about as many carries as number two to Genty in the course of it. So you guys charged me with coming up with my four favorite, Doug Martin plays. And this is about as easy a four. It took me maybe 10 minutes at most to just even look for it, to actually find the highlights. Took more time to think about it. And I'm going to start with 2009, his second season with Boise State. He finished with 765 yards that season. And for me, remembering that season was in the Fiesta Bowl, Boise State trying to close out an undefeated season. They're playing TCU. The game is tied at 10, and Boise State's had a long drive going to the other end of the field at Glendale from me and had the ball on the 2-yard line. So a 2-yard run makes my list of four.
First and goal at the 2, more under center. Doug Martin is the eye back. They'll give it to him. Martin dives, leaps. He did! Touchdown of the lead, and the Broncos lead at 16-10.
Brotzman extra point made it 17-10, and that was the way it ended. So to me, for importance in that game, getting the winning touchdown against TCU. We're going to move to his junior season, 2010, and Boise State had that tough loss to Nevada at the end of the season. There was a game, I believe it was with Utah State, in between that and the bowl game. I had to do a basketball game the night before the bowl game, so I was flying down. And I was worried that Boise State wasn't going to be interested in playing in the bowl game because, a tough loss to Nevada, thinking they could be in in a BCS game. When I landed, I had heard that there had been a skirmish of pushing and shoving at some dinner the night before. And I'm thinking, I love it. That means we're going to be ready to go because now Utah State has made us mad.
And very early in the game, Doug Martin showed that Boise State was there to play, not only to play, but to win big.
Ball in the right half. Cedars go left. Wing back, that's Linehan in motion. Looks like maybe they're setting up a run here. And they will give it to Doug Martin over left guard. Doug bounces outside to the 20, to the 30. Could be a foot race to the 40, to the 50. He cuts to the left side. 30, 20, 10, 5. Broncos lead on the huge run for Doug Martin. 84 yards. And he goes over 2,000 for his career.
What a run there by Doug Martin. Play number 3 came in what I thought may have been the perfect offensive game for Boise State. It came on the road. It came in Boise State's first Mountain West Conference game ever. Broncos were at Colorado State, won the game 63-13. How about these numbers? 742 yards in total offense, 359 passing, 383 rushing. Doug Martin would score 3 touchdowns. This would be the second of 3 on the way to 200 for the game. Another handoff to Doug Martin, gets to the outside, and he is gone. Doug Martin is going to break this one. 55 yards, touchdown, second of the game for Doug Martin, and that one was just blocked well. He got to the corner after a couple of nice moves, 13-zip. And then maybe my favorite Doug Martin play was not a run from scrimmage. It took place in the Vegas Bowl. Arizona State was the opposition. It would be his last game as a Bronco. And during part of the season, they used him as a kick returner. He ran 9 kicks back. I looked at the numbers, and there were 21 other kick returns that were split amongst other people. And I remember Coach Pete telling me before the game that he was going to use Doug Martin on kickoffs because it was the last game. He didn't need to save him for anything, and it was a great decision. The Broncos took it to the house and won easily.
Garut standing at the 20. He has the ball teed up on the X in the middle of the field at the 30-yard line. Runs up, gets the foot into it, and it's going to be an end-over-end kick. Martin will take it 2 yards deep in the end zone and bring it out. He'll come out to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. Cuts back to the right, to the 30, to the 40. He's being chased to the 50, to the 40, to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Doug Martin, 102 yards on the score, and it's 6-0 Broncos.
And those are my 4 favorite Doug Martin plays.
I'll never forget that play. I mean, that was such an unbelievable play. And you know, I just got goosebumps listening to that. And I don't get a lot of goosebumps listening to Boise State highlights or any highlights for that matter. I'm always a look ahead guy, but that play inspires such memories. That was such a big play. And what a great way to encapsulate what a great career he had at Boise State.
And really had some good years in the pros too. I know it was sort of an up and down career in the pros, but he had some wonderful years with Tampa. And then if I'm not mistaken, one of the years he was with the Raiders was actually a good year too.
The final year of his career. I mean, when you called games, by the way, your voice, holy smokes, Bobby. Sound like a little guy. Oh, Mickey Mouse, Bob Beeler. Wow. Like, yeah, I mean, I love it,
I
man.
think I've gotten better. I mean, at least I think I sound better.
Yeah, absolutely. Doug Martin only had 2 30-attempt games, 30 carry games. Genty had 15 last year, 14. Doug only got 2 of those games to really show what he could do. Great stuff.
And I think that, it just shows you the depth in the running back room in those years.
No question. Prater in the ball game, KTIK, the ticket. There is your Bronco focus with Bob Beeler. Let's shift over to Pete Cavender, Bob's partner and a former teammate of Doug Martin. It's brought to you by Snake River Pool and Spa. And find out where Pete was right and wrong versus UNLV. KTIK, the ticket.
Sports Radio 953 FM and 1350 AM. The ticket.
The NFL International Games continue on NFL Network. And here, our stars come out in the morning. Week 10, Bijan Robinson and the Falcons.
Touchdown, Atlanta!
Take on Daniel Jones and the Colts in Berlin.
Fireworks in the fourth quarter!
Then in Week 11, Jaden Daniels and the